The battle to restore life to half of the universe is set to be one of the biggest, most intense, and snappiest events in cinema history. Taking place immediately after Thanos' snap at the end of Avengers Infinity War, this movie will see the remaining heroes fight against the Mad Titan with everything they've got. One question is on everyone's minds going into the movie though. Where has Captain Marvel been this whole time? Brie Larson's Carol Danvers is one of the most powerful superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and could have been an invaluable ally in previous conflicts. We have a couple of theories on what was tying her up, and why the snap is the perfect catalyst for her return. Get ready, because this is going to take you through time and space as we theorize where Captain Marvel was and what she was up to for almost the entirety of the MCU. Captain Marvel is one of the strongest heroes in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, according to Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige. She is on track to take down an entire army of the Captain Marvel film, after all. She probably could have made short work of the invading Chitauri army in the first Avengers movie, and decimated Ultron's forces in Avengers Age of Ultron. Despite the grave dangers of these threats, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury never even considered reaching out to Carol until he was literally turning to dust. The destruction of half of all life in the universe, himself included, has Fury reaching for that sci-fi beeper super quick. We can infer from this, though, that Captain Marvel was preoccupied with something pretty important, or someplace where normal communications wouldn't reach her. It's also possible that the device Fury used before he turned to dust didn't contact Captain Marvel. It freed her from some sort of imprisonment. That possibility takes us right into our first theory. Captain Marvel wasn't in any of the previous MCU films because she was trapped in some kind of time vortex or the quantum realm. Okay, Nick Fury detaining Captain Marvel for 20 years outside of space and time might seem a bit far-fetched, but there's a good amount of support to back this theory up. Nick Fury is a super cautious and calculating leader. He knows firsthand how powerful Captain Marvel is, and how much of a threat she could be if she ever turned against Earth. Or even how much damage she could do to society if the public ever learned that a single person had the power to wipe out an entire army whenever they wanted. For the good of the world, Fury may have had to trap her in a prison outside of reality that even she couldn't escape from. It's also not hard to imagine Captain Marvel giving Nick Fury a pretty good reason to seal her in another plane of existence. Our video theorizing why Nick Fury is guaranteed to lose his eye in the Captain Marvel movie, which you can check out right now or after this video wraps up, placed Captain Marvel as a prime suspect for how Fury gained his iconic injury. Such a betrayal would totally justify locking Carol Danvers up for a while, although more than 2 decades trapped in a different dimension might be a little excessive. Danvers' allegiance to the Kree Empire might also be the cause of her extended confinement. In trailers, Captain Marvel describes the Kree as a literal race of alien warrior heroes. Needless to say, she's pretty deep in the Kree Empire Kool-Aid. However, we know from previous films that the Kree aren't nearly as noble as Captain Marvel makes them out to be. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we learn that Michael Rooker's Yondu Udonta was sold as a slave to the Kree Empire during his childhood. He fought their battles against his will for much of his early life, and would have probably perished in one of their battles if it weren't for the Ravagers freeing him. Similarly, Ronan the Accuser was a high-ranking member of the Kree military, who was disgusted by his signing of a peace treaty between his people and the planet Xandar. He was so blinded by revenge and bloodlust that he decided to go rogue and destroy the planet with the Power Stone. Although they found separate enemies, Captain Marvel and the villainous Ronan were a part of the same army and would have been allies. There are a host of reasons why Nick Fury would have locked Carol Danvers away, and had plenty of ways to do it, too. We know from the Ant-Man movies that S.H.I.E.L.D. was aware of the quantum realm, and had at least a basic understanding of how to access the dimension. Although Michael Douglas's Hank Pym, the inventor of the Ant-Man technology, left the organization in the late 1980s, S.H.I.E.L.D. scientists could discover how to access the realm with his help. As the quantum realm is on a different plane of existence that the Infinity Gauntlet cannot affect, Carol would be unaffected by the snap here. This realm is also notoriously difficult to escape from, and would be one of the few places Captain Marvel couldn't escape by using her incredible powers. Alternatively, Carol could be trapped in a device that pushes her out of time. Thanos' snap could only affect living things that existed in that moment. It didn't retroactively erase all of the people in history. That means if Carol were trapped in the past, future, or switching between the two, she could have survived the snap. Although time manipulation isn't a huge part of the MCU, it does exist. The Time Stone gives a person the ability to easily manipulate time and see into possible futures. We also know that several characters possess the ability to manipulate space, like the Asgardians, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for characters to invent a means to manipulate time. Either way, it's totally possible that the device Nick Fury used at the end of Avengers Infinity War freed Carol Danvers rather than just paging her. An imprisonment would fit with her eyebrow-raising alliances and Nick Fury's distrusting personality. Although an even more sci-fi explanation is on the table. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Kree played a role in the creation of the White Monolith, which is an artifact that can send people forwards and backwards in time. Although they didn't directly create the White Monolith, it wouldn't exist without their meddling with life on Earth. With Carol Danvers' ties to the Kree, and the Kree's connection to the White Monolith, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch if the artifact was responsible for her absence in the MCU. For the most part, the Marvel Cinematic Universe follows a pretty compact timeline, with the first Captain America movie being the only major exception. The Captain Marvel movie, though, is the first major break in the timeline we've seen recently. It would be appropriate then if time manipulation were responsible for her extended absence in the series. Maybe she's forever trapped in 1995? Forever rocking out to 9 Inch Nails and Pulp's Different Class if she's really into tearing down society. Some kind of time manipulation would also explain her having a similar appearance in Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame. Though a combination of makeup and special effects, actor Samuel L. Jackson appears to be a quarter-century younger in this movie than he does in real life. Brie Larson, though, is playing close to her actual age in the movie. While they could use similar effects to make Brie Larson appear 25 years older in Endgame and any of Captain Marvel's subsequent appearances, it'd be way easier to explain her appearance with time manipulation. Or her extended youth could be explained by her status as an alien biological weapon, but time travel would be more fun. While there are a lot of reasons to think that Carol Danvers has been locked up outside of time and space for a while, the likely reason for her absence is the simplest one. She's probably just been in space doing stuff. Captain Marvel is in a weird place, and unlike most other living creatures in the universe, she doesn't remember much of her past life on Earth, and is much more of a weapon of war for the Kree than anything else. It's hard to see her returning to Earth and live in hiding for most of the MCU, especially considering how often it falls into peril. Likewise, it's tough to imagine her returning to the Kree Empire since they're morally ambiguous at best. Instead, she'll probably carve out her own path in space. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies established a wealth of different societies and cultures in the cosmic side of the MCU. Captain Marvel could easily fit into any of these communities on a number of planets and earn a living using her unique powers and skills. If the Guardians of the Galaxy can get by doing odd jobs and defense contractors with their rather limited abilities, Carol could easily get by as a mercenary or bounty hunter. Although she can't bend reality like Thanos, she is one of the strongest beings in the universe and could pretty much go or do whatever she wants. Although it would be amazing if she started a ranch to restore the universe's flurkin population. Her pet goose is actually an endangered alien species known as a flurkin that's pretty much a cross between a tabby cat and a xenomorph. It'd also be terrific if Captain Marvel joins the Avengers and beats up Thanos because the snap erased her pet. Of course, in this theory, Captain Marvel is simply just a part of the lucky half of the universe that wasn't obliterated. Just like in our next theory that has her spending the past 20+ years trying to improve and reform Kree society. Like any civilization, the Kree Empire contains a wide variety of people with different values and backgrounds. More than likely, there's a large part of Kree society that oppose their empire's many wars and militaristic structure. Not every member of this alien race is super powerful and eager to battle. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the Kree's home planet of Hala is nearly obliterated by the efforts of Kurt Russell's ego. Perhaps Captain Marvel has been fighting for change in Kree society and defending its weakest civilians from outside threats. This would fit her unusual allegiances and place in the universe rather well. Captain Marvel owes the Kree a kind of life debt. If not for their intervention, she would not be alive. However, the Kree were not acting altruistically when they saved her life and endowed her with superhuman powers. They essentially brainwashed Carol Danvers into fighting for their army and viewing their enemies as wholly evil. As she regains more of her memory and former identity over the course of the film, she's likely to find herself in a bit of a moral conundrum. On the one hand, she owes the Kree her life and can't exactly return to her former life on Earth. On the other hand, she also won't be able to support the Kree's excessive military force and numerous extended wars. In this situation, it seems like her best course of action is to try to reform Kree society and make it more of a peaceful civilization. Granted, this would be incredibly difficult to do and take several years, but Captain Marvel is the perfect person to create this societal change. If she is instrumental in defeating the Skrull, she'll be viewed as a war hero by most of the Kree and be a commanding figure in their society. Working to improve the society that gave her a second chance at life and her powers would be one of the most responsible ways she could be a positive force of change. The destruction of half of Kree civilization would also give Captain Marvel plenty of reason to join the Avengers and battle Thanos in Endgame. Then again, Nick Fury's passing is reason enough to beat up whoever is responsible for the elimination of such a terrific character. At this point in the series, Captain Marvel is mostly an enigma. Very little is known about how her powers work, her personality, and why she hasn't even gotten a shout-out in any of the previous Marvel films. While the imminent Captain Marvel movie is sure to answer many of these questions, it's also set to raise just as many. For now, though, we can say that Captain Marvel avoided the snap out of sheer luck from being trapped in a space outside of the influence of the Infinity Gauntlet. If it's because of the latter, that would mean she'd either have to have spent the past couple decades in the quantum realm, or a different point in time. Considering all of the other sci-fi tools and tech at S.H.I.E.L.D.'s disposal, a device that could bend reality like this isn't too far out of the question. If it's the former, then that probably means that Carol Danvers spent a significant amount of time in space. It's equally likely that she was working to improve the Kree Empire or off doing her own thing and figuring herself out. She honestly deserves some time off from heroing after becoming a living weapon for the Kree, and it's understandable that Fury wouldn't want to bother her for anything besides the deadliest of situations. However Captain Marvel ends up taking her sabbatical, the events leading up to it are sure to be incredible. To find out more about this mysterious and marvelous hero, you're going to have to catch it while it's in theaters. What did you think of our theory explaining Captain Marvel's lengthy absence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Please let us know in the comments down below, and if you have your own theories, be sure to include those as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like as it really helps the channel. You can also subscribe to Behind the Screen for even more videos theorizing about Marvel's characters and the broader MCU. We have a lot more breakdowns and analysis videos coming soon. You're not going to want to miss a single one. To make sure you don't miss anything, hit the bell icon. That way you'll get a notification every time one of our new videos goes live. It's no interplanetary or interdimensional pager, but it's the next best thing.